I have recently been starting to wonder if my wife might be cheating, but I'm not sure what to do from here. I have no smoking gun for evidence, so I don't want to confront her for bringing it up in case nothing is happening or to have her cover things up. It has just been small things in a spidey sense. About 4 months ago, she started working out a lot more and became much more interested in how she looks. She's very attractive, but never really wore makeup or did much with her hair. She's also started being protective with her phone, which I know is a bad sign. It's normal for us to go into each other's phone, but no, it never leaves her side. And if I ask her to take a picture or something, she will tell me to use mine. She has also been staying late at work more often and has been taking a few more out-of-town trips for work in this last 4 months. She hasn't initiated any kind of intimacy and only gives me packing type of kisses. I tried to initiate with her a handful of times and she rejected me a few times, and a few times she let me go through with that but wasn't engaged and just laid there. It made me feel really bad. Worse than getting rejected outright. I brought up the lack of intimacy a while back, as she said that she was exhausted all the time from being a mom, work and lifting weights. She said she would try to do a better job and kiss me later that night, but nothing has changed. I have wondered if it might be some kind of midlife crisis kind of thing. There is a guy at her work that I'm thinking could be trouble. My wife used to talk about him a lot, but a few months ago, she quit mentioning him. But I noticed that we're closer together. From what I can gather, he is married with kids and told my wife that he is having marital issues. I met him briefly a few times and he basically ignored me. We were around a lot of other people. He isn't nearly as attractive as me and definitely not in great shape like me. Not to brag, but it's true. I'm big and strong and he is kind of average and a little overweight, but he dresses flashy and is outgoing and likes to drink. I don't really like drinking, and my wife has mentioned a few times that she wished I would go out drinking every now and then. I graduated high school and he has a master's degree. He also makes a lot more money than I do. I train fighters and love what I do, but make a very modest living. This guy probably makes 6 times what I do and flaunts what he has. I just bring up all that as my assessment of how we differ. The biggest thing that I have been wondering about is that this last trip for work was a tropical resort type of place, and my understanding at the time was that there were a big group of them going. It turns out that it was just my wife, this flashy guy, and the CEO. The CEO is very old and doesn't really interact socially. He is just all business in my imagination. My wife and this other guy spent a lot of time together over that week doing who knows what. My dilemma is that I want to see if my gut feeling is right but don't want to cause a bigger issue by accusing her or asking. We have had a few ups and downs over the years, but have had a pretty good overall marriage from my side. No major issues or anything. I'm not the most outgoing guy and I don't make much money, which has been a small issue for my wife. She says, I'm not living up to my potential and I could make a lot more money doing something else. I don't want to make it sound like she is obsessed with money in any way, but I know women are more comfortable with a bigger nest egg. She thinks I can do other things, but I'm not really qualified for anything other than fighting or training fighters. That's basically been my entire life, or possibly being a personal trainer. None of these things are big money makers, but other than those things, she seems pretty happy. A friend of mine said I should keep my suspicions to myself and start doing things to spy and collect evidence if it's there. But I feel weird about violating her privacy if she is cheating. I can't imagine I would ever stay with her. I hope I'm wrong about all of this, but thoughts of her cheating are starting to flood my mind and I feel like I need to find out either way. We have 2 kids and that is the part that scares me. I'm involved in every part of my kids' lives and my heart would be broken to only see them half the time. Sorry for the long post. I would love to hear some ideas on how to deal with this. Alright. Now that we set the stage, let's get into update 1. So here's the newest information. I was able to get the login information for her cell phone account. She uses her phone a lot for work and nothing looked weird until I started sorting the numbers and times. There were a ton of texts for one specific number at times, very late at night. A few hours after we go to bed. I'm going to see whose number that belongs to and find a way to get into her phone and see what name it has saved under. After I saw this, I started to get emotional and angry. I tried to tell myself it could be a mistake or some girlfriend of hers. Last night I tried to initiate, expecting to be rejected and rejected. I was. She said she was sorry, but was too tired and had a headache. I told her that I was feeling like we weren't connecting very well. She said she is sorry and will try to be better. She said that the last time I didn't push the issue or anything, just told her good night and went to bed. This morning she told me she was thinking about taking a girls' trip to Vegas. She doesn't gamble. I asked who she would go with and it was a few girls I never met, apparently friends from college. Maybe all this is a coincidence, but a lot of stuff is looking weird. I finally did some snooping and looked at the detailed cell phone records online. I noticed that there were texts to one number that were made in the middle of the night. They were in the hundreds. I called the number from a payphone, and I went to one of her coworkers, the one I thought could be trouble. I was able to get her phone while she was in the shower, and the text conversation was the one thing deleted. Also, that guy's number was saved in her phone and a female's name. I'm now very worried about the out-of-town trips that she was on, where this guy was with her. I had to leave the house and cool off. I was able to get it together enough to come home but don't know what to do from here. If I confront it with what I have, she will probably explain it away. I don't know if I should try to keep it quiet and get more evidence or if I should come out with it sooner. I am really, really angry. I'm furious at her, but also wanting to go after the other guy. It will take everything. I have not to do that. I'm worried that she will admit to inappropriate flirting, and I won't have enough evidence to get her to admit at all. Any advice on when to confront her? I'm going to stay away during the time she texted him and then interrupt her and ask her who she is texting. See if she lies to me. All right, let's see how the story is going with update 2. I laid in wait last night after everybody went to bed. I pretended to be asleep and waited to see if she got out of bed to get on her phone. Sure enough, she gets up a little after midnight and goes into another room and closes the door. I wait a few minutes and I got up and quickly opened the door and walked up to her and said I couldn't sleep. And that's what she is doing. I caught her in mid-text and was standing over her too fast for her to delete anything. I watched her hand as she slowly tried to tuck the phone away. She said she couldn't sleep either and was texting her girlfriend. I had a plan and went into it. I got on top of her and started kissing her and asked if she wanted to fool around, as I expected. She said she couldn't, so I started laughing and tickling her and made a comment that she must be more into the girlfriend that she was texting than me. Then I started to playfully wrestle her and got the phone. I could see the panic in her eyes. She tried to get it back from me, but I turned away and held it in the air like I was playing keep away. I was laughing and acting like I was having fun the entire time. I told her that I was going to call this girlfriend and ask her if she was into my wife. My wife yelled out, "Please don't call her." I started walking away and pulled out the text messages. I saw one that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I pressed the call feature and it seemed like it took forever. But sure enough, the guy answered. I hadn't planned out what to say, so I just hung up. Then I started reading through the text in front of my wife. I asked her if she thought her girlfriend answered or a guy. She didn't say anything. Then I started reading off the text out loud and asked her why she was sending this to a guy at night. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she needed to tell me anything. She was quiet. Then I told her that I had looked at her cell phone records and knew everything. I knew when she would wake up to text this guy and that I knew who this guy was. She started crying and saying she was sorry. I kept my cool. I explained that the next few minutes were very important. If she didn't tell me the complete truth, that there would be severe consequences. She says she started flirting with her coworker and he was having marital issues and it turned into flirting. She said she never did anything with this guy. My fear was she could only admit to what I already knew. I told her that she can't give me the entire truth, that she needed to pack a bag and leave. She agreed to do that as she cried, and she said she was sorry before she left the house. She asked if I was going to leave her. I told her that it was late and we would discuss that later. She left for her mom's house and I haven't seen her since. But she was blowing up my phone, so I turned it off. My plan is to try to find a marriage counselor and make an appointment. I want my wife to think. I want to work things out for a while. Until then, when I will explain that I am at counseling to get walked through the process of splitting up. This entire incident last night was something I had planned out in my head since I was pretending to wrestle with her and tickling her. I wanted to cover myself, So I recorded everything with my phone just in case she tried to accuse me of something. I asked my friend if me recording in her state was legal, and he said it was. I don't think she would ever falsely accuse me of anything, but if I am leaving her, she might get desperate. I am 64 and an athletic 240 pounds. I'm also an ex-fighter and now train fighters. So if there is an accusation of abuse, I will not be believed and will get arrested and lose my kids. So my plan is record everything from here on out. Just as an insurance policy, I'm completely heartbroken right now. My entire family has been blown up. I will miss 50% of my kids' lives growing up and feel destroyed. I suspected something, but I'm still in shock. The worst part is that this is all just beginning. I want to confront the other guy, but one need to restrain myself. I was told that he said I looked terrifying when he first saw me. So I would like to scare him. I also saw that he referred to me as the animal in one of the texts. After she made a comment about me not being too bright. I don't make much money or have a college degree, but I'm an intellectually curious person and read lots of books about all sorts of topics. I'm not the smartest guy, but I feel like I'm not stupid. I will try to update as things go on. Not sure what advice I can get at this point. I'm just devastated. He promised to update and update. He has update 3. My attorney friend was able to recommend a lawyer that specializes in family law.